I played Drive Club, the disc version, on PS4 first time a couple months ago. Essentially trying out Drive Club for the first time in 2022. And over the last couple months, I played the only thing that was accessible to me, which was the Drive Club tour. I don't have access to any DLC, be it free or paid content, so I can't get any extra cars, can't buy any extra cars, can't get the other tours so I can have more content, and I can't play online in any way, shape, or form. And that's disappointing, but I understand the studio shut down, and the fact is that they lost licensing for essentially the cars. I doubt the music licensing was even a big deal. But based on what I'm able to play through Drive Club on a disc version, it seemed like I missed out. Now I heard it started out pretty slow and people were disappointed with it in terms of what it brought to the table, in terms of content and maybe people getting used to the feel of the game or it only being European cars. But I like it. I'm a fan of European cars, so that's not a big deal for me that they don't have domestic American cars or some other varieties, be it from Japan, things of that nature. So yeah, Drive Club is visually impressive. Then I recently, probably over the last couple of years, got back into gaming, PS3 and then PS4. I've had the 360 back in the day, original Xbox, PlayStation, Sega Genesis. Brief period, had an N64 and got rid of it. Had a Dreamcast for a little bit. Had an original Game Boy, Tiger electronic handhelds. So I'm familiar with gaming. I even did PC gaming for a while, late 90s into the early 2000s. A lot of first-person shooters, Quake 2, Quake 3, Tribes, Half-Life, with the Counter-Strike and Team Fortress Classic, and I may have tried some other games as well. But anyways, I'm impressed. Now I don't have a PlayStation 5 and what have you. Who knows when I may get one. But I'm impressed with Drive Club even 2 months after I started playing it. Now the first time I looked at Drive Club was 2018. Just loaded up and I was very impressed with how it looked, just the game itself in terms of the visuals inside the car and then seeing the snow come down that first track. Impressed, if you will. Now obviously since that point I played some more PS4 games, and when I popped in Drive Club to play for real in 2022, it looked good, but I wasn't as wild as when I first put it in. But as I played through the game, I did become wowed again in terms of the lightings and the visual. You could be driving along, and I'm literally getting blinded by the visuals of the sun. Driving at night, I hope I'll run my headlights. So I really like how they do the lighting. I like how the lighting looks on the cars. It has that kind of glass polished feel when you just wax your car and what have you. It has a level of realism that I haven't seen in video games thus far, at least in my experiences. Now maybe some of them with those Forzas or Gran Turismos are competing in that arena, but I haven't played any of those games at this point in time. And I like to say I'm visually impressed by Drive Club. Looks really good. The lighting looks really good. The weather effects look cool. And I wish I had access to more tracks. I could see more weather and more things. And you get a sense of speed from when you're playing because the tracks are fairly narrow compared to, say, something along the lines of Ridge Racer Type 7 or Ridge Racer Type 4 or Ridge Racer 5. So it gives that sense of speed and it makes you a little nervous when you're even driving relatively straight down the road. The only complaint visually, well, I mean, like when there's particles and smoke and trash coming from the sides with the people watching. I just wish it was more, I guess, more feeling to the game. It does feel a little bit cold. It doesn't have the feel in terms of like, and maybe because it was an online game, but in terms of just playing the computer and the regular tour, I wish it had more of a personal feel where I could feel the hype and excitement of the crowds and things of that nature. I see it looks cool, but I wish maybe I could hear a little crowd noise here and there. Now they do emphasize the sounds of the cars because by default, the soundtrack is muted. You have to turn that up. Now the soundtrack can be repetitive. It seems like I hear the same several tracks over and over, but it works for the game. And maybe they added more tracks in any kind of updates or patch or DLC or what have you, but I don't know. But I like it. I turn up the soundtrack, kind of just vibe out, zen out, race as best as I can. Even though you do have to pay attention because it's like a simcade, so the cars have a weight and feel to it that's all different. But there are some arcadey moments if you're like slight elevation and on bumps, and crashes have not big effects on you, even though it does slow you down, but it doesn't have major effects. The big deal is staying on the track and trying not to take a turn too hard or not get out the turn fast enough, and try not to slide all over the place, depending on what kind of car you have, because these cars can drift as well if that's something that you want to do. Obviously, it's not incentivized as in, say, a Ridge Racer Type 7 where you get some nitrous or something along those lines, but it does get you points in certain events, which don't include the trophy events if memory serves correctly. And I picked up those trophies from the whatever, the pro and the semi-pro and amateur and rookie or whatever those things are. I picked up the trophies for that. So I played all through the tour, the DRIVECLUB tour. But yeah, definitely good stuff. I can definitely see me popping it in here and there, and I just really wish I had all of that additional content. It seemed like a successor to a Ridge Racer Type, well, Ridge Racer 5, because 4 and 5 were different than 7 and different than Unbounded or different than 6 that was on the 360. But it seems like it'd be, hey, the next version after Ridge Racer 5, well, yeah, you have the drift and the arcadey feel to it. Even though Ridge Racer, you feel like you're constantly on rails when you're making turns, this has gravitas to it when you make these turns. You can feel it. Cars all feel different, and you feel like you easily run off that road, so you want to be careful as you're cornering. And I feel like it's an evolution of the Ridge Racer 5, like 4 and 5 era, even though it doesn't have the swag of a Ridge Racer Type 4, where you feel like, you know, you're part of something, or you can feel the hype even from the, you know, from the kind of music. It's more chill, more zenned out, and I wish they had a little more emphasis on the crowds of people they had along the sides, and maybe some additional musical choices. But just from a look standpoint and a racing standpoint, I like this. I like what they're doing here. I like the motion blur when you're just racing by, and sometimes you just want to stop and see everything that's going on, because that's how good the game looks. Now the track, I'll remind you again, is narrow, and you do get penalties if you crash or get cornered a little rough, which slows your car down, because it's that kind of simcade kind of thing. And it also reminds me of like the MotoGPs you had on the Xbox, like MotoGP 2 and things of that nature, MotoGP 3, where you need to stay on the track, and it has that real kind of feel to it. It's like a blend of MotoGP and Ridge Racer. I really like this. And I don't have access to the bikes for DRIVECLUB because it's 2022. I can't get any additional content. I wish I could. I wish there was a way. And online, it seems there was a way if you got an Italian version or what have you, or or an Austria version, and then get the DLC that way and try to get a PSN account over there. But I'm not even sure that's available anymore, and that seems a lot to go through. Now maybe there's something you can do if you access another PSN account and someone shares it with you, and you jailbreak your console or something along those lines. I don't know. And that's not something I'm interested in doing right now. I somehow hope they can get the licensing back, but it still doesn't exist, so I don't know how that can happen. Maybe there can be a push for it somehow. I don't know. And maybe it could be a change that, hey, if I have the disc or what have you, at least allow me to download the DLC or some kind of error in the PlayStation Store where I can get the additional content and play it. Because I want to keep playing this game and play more of it. I know I can't play online, but I at least want to go through other tracks because, yes, there's a learning curve for the game, but it's still cool and like you can just race and you feel free, and it's almost like an escape to a certain extent, even though you want to be a tactician as you're driving, but once you vibe in, you got the music in the back and hear the car sounds. It's cool. It's cool vibe to it. So yeah, that's how I feel about Drive Club in 2022. It's a shame that I missed out, and I feel bad that I missed out on getting the full experience. But I can definitely see the potential that it had on the disc. I understand why people felt it wasn't enough, but I know as they added more things, it would have definitely been for me. I mean, it's for me as it stands. So if any additional content, I'd have been cool with that. So yeah, that's how I feel about Drive Club in 2022. Tried it out. Looks good. Now, I haven't played PC games in a while, and I don't have a PS5 or the new Xbox Series X, what have you. But it really looks good. And it seems like it's holding the test of time, just the way the lighting is and the effects and the weather. I really doubt it's been fully matched at this point. I'm sure it will be matched by something in the PS5 generation and the Xbox Series X generation, but this thing still looks good 8 years later, and this was on the disc, and so you could say this was the early PS4 game, so this studio came out the gates hitting in terms of the visual part of it, visual dynamics and the audio with the cars. So yeah, I wish there was some more stylistic tweaks, a little more swag on it. I wish I had access to the other content. But yeah, it's definitely a good basic game. So yeah, I played Drive Club in 2022. I like it. Wish I would be able to experience the full thing with the additional content. Iceberg Gym out. Deuces.